Mr. Patel, um, for such nice words, and Dwani, a very dear friend. I think Yuvale gives us a platform again to reconvene, right? Uh, Guys, good morning and thanks a lot for joining on this very Sunday, a very pleasant morning outside. I'm just resisting myself from looking out of the window or the balcony, because then you feel that, oh, what are you doing in a room, right? Uh, and that's how the off winter mornings are these days. uh, Coming back, so great, thanks a lot for such a nice gesture and a welcome. I may not deserve such lovely words, but I strive to prove myself on a daily basis. uh, Friends, morning. So we decided and we discussed with Mr. Patel that we want to design a very customized and a unique session on how do we get industry ready. And we were looking at what date we can plan, and he was very affirmative that let's do it on a Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, and we will have students joining us and we'll do it. Uh, Honestly, my first question to him was, sir, do you think Sunday is a good time? Because mostly Sundays are the day that after your hectic week, submissions, reports, your lectures, everything, you get that one day at your hand and at your disposal that you just want to relax, right? I remember the kind of Sundays that we used to have. अभी तक तो उठते भी नहीं थे हम लोग, I think. Honestly, that has been there. But I just want to commend each one of you, because the kind of commitment that you guys are driving to take the charge of your careers, I think you've arrived over there. So because joining a session on a Sunday morning, and that too in such huge numbers, it's commendable. So great, thanks a lot once again for joining in the session. We have about an hour and 15 minutes. Uh, and in that, what I have tried to do today is, while I have few slides with me, but you will see that uh, it's more about the experiences that I've had for last decade. uh, some experiences has been a little bit personal, where I have learned some experiences where we hit the roadblock, we hit the wall, we learned, we realized that okay, there was a different way of doing things, right? uh, there are certain things that probably we were in a position to guide some of our young talent who's been joining us at L&T. And we strive a lot, and I think L&T has been known for hiring freshers, grooming leaders, including the chairman. The group chairman, Mr. A.M. Naik, he joined the organization as an executive trainee, an engineer trainee. We spent about 55 years, yes. And he's been a group chairman, right? Our current managing director, S.N. Subramaniam, again another example, who joined as an engineer trainee and became the MD of the entire conglomerate. And we have endless examples. I don't want to quote other examples, but we have endless such examples. The point that I'm trying to drive is, there is nothing as a different pedigree ke ye log aise paida hue the. They didn't come with those privileges, or probably there weren't any of such privileges. They didn't have platforms like Yuvale to guide them, right? Hence we are at an edge, we are at a winning edge at this point in time. So you guys are at a winning edge in the sense that you have such beautiful platforms with you, where it will give you a head start to your careers. So what we will do today is, I'm only going to share some of my experiences, some of my observations over the past many years that I've spent in industry, and I'll try to put few things in context for you. Of course, when you have to talk to a subject like this, being so vast, 1 hour feels a little less, right? छोटा लगता है, बहुत कम लगता है. I had that urge that, sir, can we increase the time? But then I realized that no, I need to control myself out there, right? So but still, what we will try and do is, I'll try and succinctly put across some thought process which will help you prepare and look at a direction, and of course then leverage the platform of Yuvale and many others like such, where you've been associated, which will help you drive and look at your careers in a very different way, and you can shape your careers towards a different way. So with that, we'll just start. I hope let me just share my screen. I thought I was sharing it. Okay. Uh, I hope my screen is visible to each one of you.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Let me just put. Okay, so here is the thing. So, we are spending a good Sunday morning, all of us together. And I think some of us who've been in the industry, we've been devoid of all these uh, interactions, right? Face-to-face interactions. We are more of people. I mean, I can include myself that, I'm a little bit of old school when it comes to interactions. And I still prefer face-to-face over virtual. Uh, and that's where I thought that let's do it a little bit in person, but we are not able to do it, of course, with the situations given. But then we'll try and see that how best we can make of it. So can I request wherever possible, if you guys can come on video and be on a video mode. I'm telling you, the kind of experience that you'll have being in a video on mode is going to be very different than what you can have it. Uh, right now, if I can just explain how my screen looks like. So I have one screen which has the presentation that you see. On the other screen, I can only see those black small boxes, except for Mr. Patel and Dhwani. But rest of all are the black boxes, and few of where I can still associate a photograph or a face with the name. So uh, great. So I can see some videos coming on. You know, why video mode on? Okay, now I can associate Jaydev, Keswani, and because Jaydev and we had a short interaction some time back, right? So these are some of the connections that we are developing. These are some of the connections that we are drawing, and we are social animals, so we cannot live without connections, right? हम लोगों ने बहुत जगह पे in the humanities on in any of the topics you would have studied that uh, humans are social animals. So while we continue to be animals, we've not evolved from animals. But yeah, we look at for some social connections. So great. So that I don't intend to bore you guys for the next 1 hour. I have my conscious effort has always been to involve everybody into the sessions, right? So please keep your video on. If you feel if you're not comfortable, there's no compulsion around it. Unmute yourselves, raise your hand, or type your questions into the chat box. Don't wait till the end कि हम लोग Q&A session में पूछेंगे. Feel free to just unmute yourself and stop me wherever you feel that you wanted to add a point, you wanted to ask something. Absolutely open about it, right? This is your session. This has been designed for you, and you can make the best use of this session. So feel free to do that. And there is I strongly believe in another thing, that there is nothing called as a stupid question. There are only stupid situations, and there are only stupid answers, or people look stupid in situations, right? There aren't any stupid questions. If you are able to ask a question, get a clarity, you save yourself from being in a situation where you come across as stupid, right? So feel free to ask at any point in time, and barge in. It will be lovely to hear a lot of you as well going on. And of course, while it is virtual, I have still kind of kept it a little more interesting, interactive, where there is one slide which there is nothing on that slide. We need to make it together, honestly. So I will need your support in terms of making that one slide together. Yeah. So that will be one fair that we will do. And in all my sessions, even at L&T, when I do a lot of sessions, I have always advocated towards democracy. So and this session will also be driven by democracy, because we are living in a land that promotes democracy, right? We are the world's largest democracy. So what is democracy? What are the pillars of democracy? Anybody? I think we've studied this way back into our schools. You can type, you can unmute yourself. I'm monitoring the chat windows as well. So yes, what is democracy? What are the broad pillars of democracy? The moment I started a little bit asking questions, ek do video band ho gaye.
For the people, by the people, to the people.
For the people, by the people, of the people, right? So that's nothing but, you would have seen in the our preamble and a constitution, that's how democracy has been defined, that it is for the people, by the people, of the people. look at it, this session that we're going to have today. It is going to be for you, it is going to be by you, and it is going to be of you, right? I am not in the driver's seat just because I have a presentation, I have something to say about, I have an agenda to drive. The session has been designed for you. Of course, we've kept some thoughts that can help you, but at the same point in time, it equally puts in responsibility, and I would rather urge you to take the driving seat, that what best you want out of the session, you need to ask for it, right? So let's make it as interactive as possible. Do I have a commitment? Probably you can use any of those signs, or you have those emoticons over here. Zoom has evolved itself a lot. Yeah. Okay, great. So what are we going to talk about today? So what is it that this topic had been very elaborated for me, and I was just thinking that how do I put it in just 1 hour, give you a broad glimpse, as well as I'm able to give you a little bit depth around everything. So what I thought is, let me just answer only 3 questions. So the entire session is just divided into 3 sessions, 3 questions that I'm just trying to answer, or we're just trying to look at, right? First and foremost, of course, the topic or the title itself is the expectation for us, that what does industry expects. Now, with that question came into my mind when I was just thinking that why does industry expect, or why are you guys so interested to know about it on a Sunday morning, against not watching a Kapil Sharma show which is coming on your Sony TV, right? So why do we also want to know their expectations, or why do employers want to share some of their details like this, right? So that we'll try and answer a little bit on why. And now that we understand what is expected and why those expectations are coming up, how does industry gauge it, and what are some of the ammunitions that you have at your disposal through which you can exhibit it, right? So these are the broad 3 questions that we're just trying to answer today for the session. Now, before we get into the what part of it, so let's look at some of the aspects in the what part. So before we get into the what part of it, uh, and before we kind of look at what does industry expects from freshers or from budding young talent like you, I want to ask another question, that what do you expect? So what do you think, what are some of the expectations that or prospective employees have from organizations or from prospective employers? So what are some of the expectations that you have, or what, if you close your eyes, okay, if it is my first job, or if it is my job for that matter, kaisa hona chahiye, what all should be there in that job? What is your expectation from your employer?
On their behalf, they may be a little shy, but I may say that पैकेज अच्छा होना चाहिए, 5 दिन का जॉब होना चाहिए, अच्छा कैंटीन होना चाहिए, थोड़ा रिलैक्सेशन के लिए और भी कुछ होना चाहिए. So these are the minimum, let's say, baseline.
Right,
and then they may have
yeah, sure. So good. So Mr. Patel has already hit the ground. Guys, you may want to add. So while he's sharing expectations on your behalf, but mind well, if you have something that is not covered, please add right now. I can then what I'll do is I'll feed in back to my recruitment team that, boss, I did a session and this is what they're expecting. देखो आप कैसे fulfill करते हो अब इसको आप.
I want to add work culture as well.
Okay, interesting. Work culture, good responsibilities, high learning, also CTC. Yes, CTC is important, boss. We are all working for vitamin M, and vitamin M you don't get from any other tablet, right? That's the only. Okay, I can see flexibility in work schedule, 5 days a week. So interestingly, the trends. Okay, Prachi is also saying that work-life balance, growth opportunity. Wow, interesting.
Paid leaves.
Paid leaves. Yeah, I need a vacation. Okay, I can't work beyond a point. I need a vacation. I need a break. Interesting. Anything else that you guys feel? Feel free to type in. And I think what you guys have done is actually have revealed my next slide. So broadly, what happens is, and I was just thinking, and I was doing a little bit research. I spoke to a lot of some of the young friends of mine who are just entering into the industry, and I just spoke to them that, what do you guys look for? And and broadly, I was able to categorize into these 6 buckets. That probably we are looking for a good reputable and a brand name where we can associate ourselves, right? Okay, I am working. So in today's time where startup has a lot of buzz around it, we say that, okay, what, I am working with Zomato, or I'm working with Swiggy, or I work with Lenskart, or some of these young brand, or urban quirky brands. Why we are so proud about it? Because we associate ourselves with them. So we're looking for a brand name. Interesting. Thanks, Bhavin. I think you're talking about mental health, peer support, and a healthy environment, which probably comes up somewhere at relationship at work. So we are also looking at relationships, and these are not in any of order, as of now. These are just what, as a candidate, I expect uh, from my employer, right? So I'm looking for a name. I'm looking for a quality of work. So somewhere somebody also mentioned about growth opportunity. Uh, I'm looking for the kind of work that will help me use my skills, and help me deliver better, right? Where I learn a lot. I'm also looking for avenues for career growth. I just don't want to stay in the same career. Gone are those days के एक ही करियर में ज्वाइन किया था और उसी के अंदर हम सालों साल निकल गए. I want to experience different kind of careers, different career paths. I want to explore a lot of it which is available, and how I can contribute and how I can develop. Money, very important, right? Without which a lot of things doesn't make sense, honestly. And it's a fact. It's a fact. And there is, honestly, I have always felt that we never need to be apologetic about it, that we want a career which fulfills our financial needs. Because at the end of the day, it's in a crude way, if I have to put it, okay, employment between an employer and an employee or a candidate is kind of a marriage, right? It's a marriage, but of course it's a different marriage than what we understand marriage as an institution. This marriage is with a give and a take relationship. Employers give or satisfy some of these needs or wants. In turn, employee provides the skills or the competencies which will help organizations to grow. So it's a healthy give and take kind of a relationship that happens, right? Now, however, what has happened is that relationship has evolved with generations and over a period of time. So money is equally important. We need money. We're talking about work-life balance. I think some of that did come up. Now, what will happen is, while I may have, and these are not just only expectations, that there can be many more as well coming up. But the importance kind of changes, right? So and this is something that we've realized in at least in last 12 or 15 years of my career that I have spent. I have realized that the priorities have been changing because of the generations that we've seen entering into the workforce now. And that's where I want you to have an interesting perspective around it. There is a lot of times there are people who ask me questions that, Keval, what is the decent expectation that I should have in my first job? Should I pitch in about money? Should I talk about more learning? Should I talk about the kind of work that I want to do? What should I have as an expectation? Or how should I define कि मैं कौन सी company join करूँ? You may have a company which is offering money in a different location. You may have an organization which is not offering money, but it is giving a kind of role that I want. So मैं क्या करूँ? So that's a thought that always has been a dilemma, right? What we'll do is we'll do a quick little survey. So while we understand all of these things, a reputable brand name, quality of work, so it provides me a lot of learning, money, avenues for career growth. So what are the different career paths available? What are the different kind of career experiences available? What are the different geographies in which I can work? Do I get an international exposure or not? Do I get to work with people of different nationalities or not? Or what are the kind of different new age technologies if I'm into tech sector? What are the kind of new age practices that I'm able to develop my career upon? What are the kind of relationships that I can have at work? Can I make, some of the expectations also include that, do I make good friends at work? Somebody spoke about mental health, congenial environment, culture, so on and so forth. All will come under relationships at work. And at the end of the day, work is just a part of my life. I want a life which provides me a balance between my personal aspirations and of course my work commitments, right? So if I have to look at all of these six, and your option to select your career or an organization for that matter is an interplay of these broad six elements. How do you prioritize these six? Which is the one that you should select, or which is the one that you think is right for you? And for that matter, everybody will have a different reality for these, right? So what I want is, we'll do a quick little survey, and I want you to prioritize in your opinion, and you don't have to go for a popular opinion. What according to you, if you are given these six options, which is the first option, first priority, second priority, third priority, how will you prioritize these six things, right? So prioritize your expectations from your potential employer or from your job. What would you give a first priority? What would you give a last priority given these six options? So what I want you guys to quickly do is go on to your browsers. If you are logged in on a mobile devices, just open your browsers and go type www.menti.com. Or if you are in a, connected to a laptop or your system, just open a different tab and just open menti.com. It will ask you to type a code and put this code out there: 67656232. I'll just I'll just type it here as well. And it will also, so have you all been able to log in into it? I think we have about 19, so about 17, at least 17 of us, or 16 of us. I'm excluding Mr. Patel, me and Dhwani out of it, because our we've missed the bus now. We don't have option to select from these six. What you have to do is you just have to give the priorities. When you click on the first one, which is your first priority, then second, then third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And once you have done, just hit the submit button. And what we'll see on the screen is the culmination of what comes out of collectively for all of us. Okay, I could see, so we've got one response. Okay, I'm seeing two responses. So we'll see quickly if all can just put your responses. So I'm still seeing the trend is that the quality of work or the learning is the top one for us. There's a strong competition between money and a reputable brand. 6 responses. We're still waiting. At least if we get about 80% of responses, I'll close the poll. Anybody facing any challenge in responding to the survey, please say. So quality of work, and you see the difference between the first and the second. Quality of work and money, it's a huge difference. While between second and third, it's a very minor difference that's coming up. And we have about 8 responses. So I can see a fairly about 50% of people are okay. We've almost hit about 70%, 80% of the responses. Anybody else who's left to respond, or who's pending to do it, or else we can probably close the tab. Or the
I'm honestly very happy to see that many are saying that quality of work or learning is very important. That's that's a great sign, youth, students. Yes. A great sign.
And you know, I was just reading one of the Harvard researches, which was about on talent. That, you know, what does talent expect? Because we are, you know, looking at the other side of the table, we are from an organizations, we always strive to understand that, what is the young workforce looking forward to from an organization, right? And I must say that the way it's coming out is is quite similar, almost 80 to 90% aligned to what even Howard has been able to put it out. That people today, or the new workforce today, is looking for the quality of work, the value that he or she can bring and then can contribute towards the organizational objectives, as well as what value I get as an individual. What is in it for me? I am not here just to work for money. Money, of course, I need it for my to meet my needs, but beyond money is what I'm looking at. And if you now see, money is actually
Third.
dropped another level, and it's gone to level it's now ranked 3. If I just look at it, up from about 17 or 18 of us, 12 have already responded. So this is a popular opinion. I don't think it's going to change beyond here. Now, it's very interesting to understand that, and I'll tell you why I thought I want to put this. It would have been very easy if the employers or the prospective employees do not understand what each side wants from the other, right? A popular notion would have been, company ko kya chahiye? They want talent, who can work and who can achieve objectives, right? Company क्या समझेगा? Company समझेगा कि okay, the employee wants money, meaning I will pay you every money. I'll pay you all the money. You work what I give you. So even if it means that I bring in a very highly qualified individual who's done maybe, who is a high-tech professional or MBA graduate, and I just make him do the data entry work, because मेरा तो डेटा एंट्री से काम हो जाएगा. यूएस की कंपनी का एक प्रोजेक्ट ले लिया है मैंने, डेटा एंट्री करते रहो, आई विल अर्न ऑन डॉलर्स एंड आई विल पे इन रुपीस. सो एनी व्हिच वाज आई एम गोइंग टू अर्न फ्रॉम द एक्सचेंज करेंसी. Right? But is it going to suffice? No, it's not going to suffice, because as an organization, and probably a lot of employers now have realized the importance of that. People are not just looking for money. People are looking for things beyond money. People are looking for things which adds to the quality of life, in terms of provides me satisfaction that I've been able to deliver up to my capability. So in terms of my quality of work that I'm putting, also in terms of that, as an organization, am I that kind of a brand where people feel proud to work with? So today, if I'm wearing an LNT t-shirt, and I proudly say that I work with a brand like LNT, that that fulfills my need of getting associated with a reputable brand. And this is what candidates are looking for. And organizations have now understood that it's not just money that people are looking for. People are looking for money. People are looking for avenues for career growth. What are the different kind of career growths that are there, relationships at work, and so on and so forth. And we need to work towards that. So employers, or rather organizations, and a lot of progressive organizations, if I may put, have started working towards it, or have reached a level that they are able to create a lot of such experiences. And I think you all have a lot of such examples in front of you as well, right? Now, it's important for us to understand, right? It's important. We are trying to understand what is organization expecting from us, or what is industry expecting from us. It's equally important for us to understand that, what am I, or what are you expecting from that particular industry? So now, having this background, and we'll keep on coming and referring to this one. We are saying quality of work, reputation in terms of the brand that I work with, and money and career. These are 3-4 things. And of course, then, work-life balance and relationship is coming towards the end. Doesn't mean that they're not important, but of course, in the priority given, it's coming out this. We will keep on coming and referring to these of things. Now, in light of these, now where we have understood this, 1 second, it's not. So now is a chance for us to co-create another slide. I don't know what's happened. Shucks, 1 second. that what according to you industry expects. There is some, it's frozen my screen. One minute, I'll just make the change because, okay, now money is 1 second. By the way, while we spoke, money just hit the second chord. Are you guys able to see the screen?
No, not
No,
now.
right.
Not yet,
Okay,
no.
okay. There's something that has gone up. I share the screen now. Yes, now I think you would be able to see the screen. Yeah, okay. So meanwhile, I just changed it. Money actually again gained the second spot. But if you see the difference is very minute, right? Now, this is the slide that I was referring to. Now, we've understood what we want from the organizations. Now, it's time for us to also understand that, you know, we have laid down our expectations quite in bold. Let's try and see what do we understand that corporates expect from us. So this is a slide which I want support from each one of you in terms of, you know, let's co-create this slide together. So again, I'm back on my chat windows. You can unmute yourselves. So in many of your interactions that you've had, tell me what have you been able to decipher that, you know, what does industry is looking for?
So do they have to go to the?
No, they don't have to go to the Mentimeter.
Okay.
It's actually, I need to just come with this next slide. You know, sometimes Murphy plays its own role. I did all the testing. Yeah, this is where we are. Okay, so this is a plain slide, right? You can see the screen now. It's a plain slide.
Right.
What I want is I want some participation. What do you think that industry is expecting from, or
There are
what your
some
prospective employers?
Yeah, there are
Yes.
few in the chat box.
Yes. I have started looking at it. So let me just put down. So I'm putting as is. I'm just copy pasting and I'm just started pasting candidates with agility, resilience, tech savvy employees that doesn't change jobs too frequently. In the current context, yes. No, you see that great resignation. That's the era that is happening. Loyalty to the organization, giving 100% to work. Okay. Anything else do you think organizations are expecting today? Yes. Self-motivated individuals. Wow. Interesting. You can unmute as well in case you wish to, you know, speak up, you want to express which you think you're not able to. Aligning to the company's vision. Yes, so it's the broad vision, or if I may say the purpose, with interdisciplinary subject background. Again, yes, we are talking about aligning ourselves to the skills, having learning attitude, a very important element that we're looking at. Anything else? What do you think companies are expecting? Yes, go ahead, type. You may want to take a quick 1 minute and that anything that you think that has been missed out. That's it. I don't see any other responses coming down. Good behavior and value of people. Okay. Interesting. Thanks, Jigar, for that. Let me just, and I'll don't worry, I'll share these slides back with Mr. Patel so it can be circulated as well. Ready to build relations with people. Communication, very important, very important. ready to accept change. We are again talking about being agile. Thanks, Dhwani. Willingness to learn, openness towards new experiences, employees having an ownership attitude of working towards the organization. Fantastic, fantastic. I think uh, uh, you guys have already aced it in terms of understanding what are some of the expectations that employers have from their prospective employees. And mind well, these kind of expectations, it's not something which is unique for fresh pass outs from college. It is equally important for people who've been in the industry, or who've been spending time with the industry and probably trying to look at it. Yeah. Okay, thanks. The last one is around teamwork. Okay, let me just put those 2-3 thoughts. Passionate to their work, ready for any situation, and taking up the challenge. Oh, fantastic. Great. I think, and if you look at it, some of these expectations, let me just now redo a little bit around it. You're saying candidates with agility, resilience, and tech savvy. So we're talking about attitude, which is in terms of your agility and resilience. And we're talking about the skills, which is about being tech savvy, or probably the functional understanding, functional knowledge, or whatever is your domain expertise. Employees who don't change jobs frequently or who are loyal to the organization. So somewhere we are looking at commitment coming over here. So what I could see in these two, sorry, let it be. So what I'm seeing in these two is more towards the commitment. Stop. So what we are looking at here is more in terms of the commitment and the loyalty, the next two. Let me just highlight it here. Self-motivated. Again, if you want to just bucket it, you will be able to bucket it amongst the attitude part of the individual, right? Aligning to the company's vision, which is around the purpose. Are you a purpose-driven individual or not? And if, as an organization, if I'm investing in the experience, and I'm saying experience in a very broad term, companies are not just providing employment nowadays, they're providing an experience, right? We want relationships, we want TT tables, we want a good swanky canteens, we want mini theaters, what we want BMW bikes as well. I mean, we know that a Bangalore based startup was able to even provide, as a part of their offer letters, they gave BMW bikes, right? So we want all of that. So we just don't want money, we want an experience. And then company also wants people who are driven by sense of purpose.
I'm surprised
right?
nobody asked.
Interdisciplinary subject background, again, your skills. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Sorry,
Nobody
yeah,
asked.
go ahead, Mr. Patel.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody asked the name of the company, Bangalore company.
Bharat Pay is my guess.
Yeah, who is giving that BMW bike?
Yeah. Which is that company? Yes, anybody?
I know it, but I'll give the participants a chance.
Yeah. Anybody, any idea? So you guys are looking out for a job. What it's good, right? If you get a good offer letter along with a BMW bike or an iPhone. I mean, it's a very common practice these days that that organizations are giving iPhone, AirPods along with it.
Oh.
Which is the company that gave BMW bikes? Okay, no idea. Dhwani, you want to just share that?
It's Bharat Pay. And coincidentally, if you have heard the news about Bharat Pay recently, the CEO Ashnin Grover is in a bit of a dicey situation with the board of directors at the moment. Go check it out, all the people, all the students.
Great. Yes, so it's Bharat Pay. And of course, it's been in news for some time now. I hope I'm audible, right? Because I could see some bit of internet fluctuation at my end.
You are.
Okay. So it has been in news for some good things and some bad things both together. because of one of the co-founders in its name. Anyways, so the long point drawn. It's also about experience, right? So organizations are looking for purpose-driven individuals. Just having a MBA degree or a BTech BE degree uh, with a good marks uh, is not sufficient. It's not sufficient nowadays. You need to exhibit that. Do you understand the larger purpose and how you fit yourself into that kind of purpose? So that's something that organizations are looking at. Good behavior and value of people, again, on the relationship parts, ready to build relations. Communication, while communication is much of a very overrated or an underrated skill, that is one of the another the thing that organizations have been striving for. And fortunately or unfortunately, rather, I would say that there is still a gap that industry is experiencing. In my personal experience, I've seen that what we understand of the term communication and what industry expects, there is a gap, and that needs a little bit of bridging of it, right? So we'll talk about that part a little bit as well. Ready to accept change, again, going back to agility, willingness to learn, employees having ownership attitude. What I'm just doing is I'm just highlighting few of these keywords. Passionate to make difference and face any challenge. So broadly is what we are saying. Now if I have to just christen it down, and you guys have hit the nail right, that this is what in totality industry is looking forward to. I mean, if I get an individual who is exhibiting at least 50 or 60% of it, I'm going to hire that individual outrightly. And in today's time, with the kind of and I'm sure you guys are tracking news and the kind of war for talent which is going on, right? I'm using the word war for talent. It's a bloodbath. Individuals, and if you see in big cities, each candidate has at least about 5 offers at hand today. And amongst that, you see the kind of results each of these organizations have been able to give out, and the kind of attrition that the organizations are having. They're skyrocketing. So abhi to aisa halat ho gaya hai ki they just need people who knows how to start computer on and off, baki hum sikha denge. Right? So the point I'm trying to drive is, if I'm even getting 40% of what is listed on the screen, I'm going to outrightly hire. So this is broadly what organizations are looking for. But if I have to just simplify it broadly and still add a little more structure to it, broadly 3 things comes out of it, right? And we will try and decipher into 2 parts. One is, of course, your tech skills, your ability to work, commitment, etc., is one part of it where you are able to deliver results. And second is, it's not just about today or in just next 1 year how much you will be able to perform, but if an organization is hiring you, it's investing in you in terms of your learning, your growth, your aspirations. How in the long term duration you pan out and you emerge as a leader with which organizations will be still able to scale up to the next levels. So that's the 2 set of expectations that we are looking at, right? So coming to the first part of it, where how in terms of your work you will be able to deliver for the given task, and how you are able to bring about the results. These are the 3 words that summarizes it far better. I mean, in my experience as well, being a fresh candidate who used to work long hours, and now when I'm when I interact with a lot of candidates, and I'm able to see that there are certain students or probably the fresh grads who join us, they are able to excel fast compared to others. Because क्या होता है ना, कॉलेज तक तो सब साथ में ही थे, तो सबको धक्का लगते लगते सब फाइनल ईयर तक पहुंच गए, right? Then is where your real battle starts. Once you join the organization, so imagine 3 of your batchmates and you together, 4 of you join the same organizations. Probably your start is going to be the same. That all 4 of you will be hired at the same package, same offer letter, सब कुछ same होगा, सिर्फ नाम ऊपर change होगा. Your training will be same, what you will be given, right? The day you join, the kind of training that is given to you is going to be the change. And then what you convert out of it, and 1 year down the line, your careers will be different. And you'll start seeing that somebody has moved in a different role, somebody surpasses, somebody goes ahead, kuch log slow growth trajectory pe jate hain, which is what comes to us to this slide, that are you, so what industry is actually looking forward to is these three terms: accountability, responsibility, and ownership. Are you able to exhibit these three terms in its essence? Now when I'm looking at it, what does accountability mean? So accountability is nothing but that you will be evaluated on how you are able to complete the tasks that are given to you, right? How you are able to responsibility perform those tasks within the given standards, and in terms of the desired kind of processes that you need to follow, and are you able to stand and be answerable for the kind of tasks that you're performing? So that's on the accountability part of it. Accountability हमेशा external रहेगा, लोग आपके ऊपर डालेंगे कि आपको ये काम करना था, आपने किया कि नहीं किया है. It's more external. Now looking at it, the next one is about responsibility. Responsibility is how much responsible and sincere you are towards your work. It's more internal. The rest two are more internal, right? Are you reliable or not? So what people will, or probably what your seniors or prospective employers will look forward to is, are you an individual who is reliable, जिसको काम दिया तो उसको बार बार फॉलो करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती, who will be able to pick it up if he or she faces challenges, will navigate out of the solutions, will speak to a couple of people, or will try and build relations and ensure that the work is done. And that individual on whom I can rely कि हाँ ठीक है, उसको अगर morning में काम दिया है, he or she will end up making it possible. If it is not happening, we'll come back that these are the challenges that I'm facing. Responsibility and ownership. Ownership is how much you are able to own up the outcome, the impact of the work that you're doing. So ownership is more within, responsibility is more internal, accountability is more external. Accountability is somebody will impose accountability on you that you're responsible to do this, have you done or not. Ownership and responsibility is more internal. Responsibility is ability to complete the task in the given situations, or weaning out the challenges, and ownership is about owning the outcome, how well I have been able to do it. If I made some mistakes, do I own it up or not? So broadly, if you see, if you have been able to create a balance on these three elements and you've been able to exhibit that you are a person who takes accountability, who you are a person who is responsible in your outlook, in your life, and who is reliable, who is able to take ownership, then you have a higher chance in excelling your career. Now, when we come to the next part of it, we will talk that how do you exhibit these. So start building some examples around these elements. This will help you in your interviewing process, or when probably you're getting into the conversations with your prospective employers around these, right? In the interest of time, I'm a little bit moving forward, but at any point in time you have any questions, just please put it across in the chat window or just unmute yourselves. Yeah. Now going ahead a little bit, some of more expectations. We spoke, and I think a lot of it you've already highlighted it around. Most of it, if you see in a slide prior, you've been able to put it. So we're talking about flexibility and adaptability is nothing but agility at work. Are you an individual who is open to new experiences, who is open to change, who is flexible to amend your ways of working, which aligns with the organizational way of working, who is able to work in a fast-paced environment? Changes happens overnight for us, right? एक काम आया है, मुझे करना है, and if I didn't get the resources to do it, did I make it possible for my own self? नहीं हुआ. I sent something to Dhwani, and Dhwani was supposed to send it back to me, but Dhwani ने नहीं भेजा, तो मैं कल करूंगा. You miss the bus, right? So you need to be agile, you need to be flexible. Processes change overnight. COVID restrictions, you see every 15 days there are the situations are emerging, and you have to be flexible and adaptable. I mean, in our lifetime, I haven't seen times like these which have given the importance of flexibility and agility and adaptability in your life, not just at work but in your life, right? Had we thought कि हम लोग ऐसा online बैठेंगे study करेंगे, had we thought that we will be locked and confined to our rooms when you are quarantined? Never. We've evolved, right? That's how we are evolving. Flexibility, adaptability becomes the bedrock for you even as you are entering into the organizations. How well you're able to exhibit it, right? These are just words that I'm putting it out, but how well you're able to exhibit it is your quality to present to your interviewers or to your prospective employees. Uh, Communication and articulation. Another important element. We spoke about communication a slide back. So broadly, so a lot of time I've seen that the myth is communication is if you know how to speak good English. I know, I think by now we understand it's not just about ability to speak English, it's about ability to make sense of what you want to speak, right? So communication is not just about ability to speak English. Yes, in the corporate terms, English is important because that's the language or the medium of expression. But at the same point in time, communication is beyond that. And I think, a lot of these words that I've written, even if you don't want to do anything else, go onto the ULA website, and I have seen a lot of recorded sessions on it of last 1.5 years. You just pick up those lectures and start looking those YouTube videos. You will get an essence of it coming out, right? Communication is more about how you are able to articulate, structure your thoughts, and present them in a way that you're able to put across your point of view in a very concise and concrete way. That's on communication. What industry is also expecting beyond is I don't know. Did you all lost me for a while?
No, the internet was, so we were not able to hear you clearly, but yeah, now again hear it.
Okay, I think there is some
But we
issue
have
with
heard you.
my internet.
Yeah.
The internet that I'm facing. Let me do one thing. I'll just shift to another internet.
Source of internet. Flexibility is something which the World Economic Forum, in the top 10 skills of 2025, they have talked about it. I was simply amazed. So this is one of those.
Yeah, I think we spoke about this element, right, in the beginning part of it itself, Mr. Patel. So that's something that brings it about big time. I hope you all are able to now see, I mean, hear clearly, right? I just
very
shifted to a better internet.
Yeah.
It was creating a little bit of challenges. Honesty and integrity, another element that industry is looking forward to. I mean, in the times that we are, and the kind of conscious times that we are, industry is expecting professionals to be to exhibit high order of ethical behaviors. And one thing that I have seen that where industry has not been able to compromise is on ethics and integrity issues. In most of the organizations, I'm connected to the industry as well. In most of the organizations, there is a zero tolerance. And I have examples of my organizations, I have examples of other organizations as well, where it's simply not expected or not, or rather it's turned down if you are not able to exhibit the kind of ethical behaviors at work. You will not be able to survive.
My question would be, when I give an interview, how do I demonstrate honesty and integrity?
Fantastic, great. So yes, anybody want to take it a chance on it before I kind of put some thoughts around it?
Do you
How would you exhibit?
Participants, do you think this is the question you have in your mind?
Okay, I can see something coming up in the chat. Okay, so we are seeing that, okay, by stating some of our past examples.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So and in my interviewing sessions, I've been telling, right, that it's a life story that you're sharing. It's your story that you're sharing. You need to build some examples, and I'm sure each one of you have those kind of insightful examples where you were in a situation of dilemma, but you chose a path which is right. And why you think you chose, and what are the kind of behaviors that you exhibited, is something where your honesty and integrity will be exhibited. Interviewers these days are smart. They will ask you only these kind of questions where you are able to cite an example. Just by mentioning honesty and integrity in your skills or in your values in a CV is not going to convince interviewers these days. They are going to ask you an example for each and everything. By being honest about certain weaknesses that we have in, yeah, you can while it is there, but try and see, try and frame your answers such that probably you were in a situation of dilemma, where things could have been a little easier. Jugaad kar sakte the, it would have been easier, but you chose the right path, and that's something that you can put across, right?
One of the examples, can it be like that in a function I was handling the accounts of, let's say, 50,000 to 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees, and that's the trust that the college authorities and the team had shown me. That can be one of the things which probably we can talk about if they have.
Yeah. So you've been part of some of these committees and you have played some important roles. Exhibit those elements. Talk about those elements, that how you're able to exhibit these behaviors out. And another important element is having a positive mindset. Very important. Industry and see your technical skills, your domain expertise, your knowledge. Industry feels that it still can be taught. पढ़ा सकते हो, सिखा सकते हैं. These things which are there, your ability to communicate and share effectively, your honesty and integrity, and your positive mindset, it is difficult. And rather that becomes a differentiator for you, right? When you have to exhibit yourselves, this becomes a differentiator in your cases. So that's how you can exhibit some of these. Focus more on these elements, while I'm not undermining the importance of your tech skills or your functional knowledge, but focus on these elements equally. When you're you will stand out from others, because in a if you just look at it, if it's a college placement, agar 5 opportunities hai, 500 log appear kar rahe hain, how will you stand yourself out? These are the areas that you can.
I think very important point made. Very, very important point made, because those 500 may not differ so much in technical knowledge,
right?
Whereas these can become really differentiators.
And these are your differentiators. Perfect. Okay, so now going ahead, or probably proceeding further, and I'm being a little conscious of the time as well. And as I said right in the beginning, that sometimes we have this habit of having the verbal diarrhea. So I'll move a little fast. The element is, there's a formula that we were able to, probably over a period of time, we were able to devise, and we've been able to practice it in the organizations. We've been advising a lot of our fresh graduates to join us, and there's the same slide that I've taken from there. I've been doing sessions for the fresh grads who join us, and this is the same slide. That so abhi tak ko kya hoga ki behaviors aapka dekh liya, and you've been inducted. Now is the journey that from here, how will you succeed? So that's where it's a combination of your ability to exhibit professionalism and your personality, which will take you to the levels ki, imagine yourself a fresh or a person who's sitting in a boardroom with another 10 people, including 2 vice presidents, 2 general managers, 2 managers, and you are there. How do you get their attention? Ki, boss, you also exist in that room. You have people with 20 years of experience, 15 years of experience, 10 years of experience, having seen the real world. You have an interesting idea, but how do you kind of build that confidence? Ki, haan, boss, mera idea bhi is an important idea. This is where it brings it. If you've been able to exhibit your professionalism and personality, people will come back to you and will note your ideas and will give importance to your ideas as well. Right? Now, how do you exhibit professionalism? So, quick few things. Now, if I have to put across honestly on each of these 5 points, I can do a one-day session, right? My suggestion, while here the idea is only to build and make a broad construct for you. On each of these topics, I have seen, if nothing else, while internet is your resource, if nothing else, I have seen on each of these topics, Yuvalai has a recording which is available. So वो आपके पास immediate repository है. या तो you can go on to any of the learning sites or references that you've been doing, right? Professionalism is how are you able to set smart goals for yourselves, and when I'm saying smart goals, which has a timeline which you're able to measure on yourselves and you're able to produce outcomes. And while you're setting goals, are you also able to measure your time effectively? Now, ये हम सोचेंगे कि अच्छा ये तो हम जॉब मिल जाएगा उसके बाद करेंगे ना, अभी कहाँ important? It's equally important right now. So you are studying right now. Are you able to set your study goals? Are you able to manage your time? Do you make your study schedules and are able to adhere to it? Because today nobody asks you, and so will be tomorrow. Nobody's going to ask you in your office when you join. Nobody's going to ask you कि आप क्या करते हो आपके टाइम का. People are going to observe you and they are going to build a perception around you. And that's what will come up here. Ability to build relationships with people. It is not organization, ya to your manager, ya to your buddy or your HR to ensure that you gel well with other people. They will only be able to introduce you to other people. Then how you are navigating those relationships is upon you. And organization is a complex structure of networks and networks of people. The well placed you are in terms of your ability to network with different people of different department, etc., will help you in one or the other way. They are your resources some or the other way, that sometimes you are in a challenge and koi specific individual can come and help you out. Can you do that? Look at it from your college per se. In a college you have about, let's say, strength between 50 to 150 in a single class. How many people can you rely on if you pick up a call and call them up कि यार ये चाहिए मुझे, and you will get it? Start building your network from today, because the same friends whom with you share your bench or your class or your samosa tomorrow are going to be your industry network. And that's what will help you back, right? So building strong relations is another, and this is one of the another important life skill. Even UN has been able to highlight that in a list of skills, building relationships is one of the life skill that UN has highlighted. We've spoken enough about accountability, responsibility, and delivering results. So last one, I want to spend one little time, and I want to ask you that when people will expect results from you, but at the same point in time, what does result mean to you? So there are two terms for it, and in paucity of time, I'll just try and put it around in the chat window. I'm talking about output and outcome. Are these two same or different? So while we may use these words interchangeably, output and outcome are going to be two different things, and the shift is from a mindset. Output is the result of the effort that you're putting. Outcome is outcome can be a negative result as well, right? I mean, sometimes kitna bhi humne effort dal diya but result nahi mila. It can be negative as well, Shivam, right? So Jiten is saying it's tangible and non-tangible. In a way, yes. So output is more of the result of the effort. So you're putting effort. So your mental continuum is more about putting efforts in terms of completing the task. कि ये काम खत्म होना चाहिए, आज का ये लेक्चर खत्म होना चाहिए. Keval's output is that okay, 10 to 11 he has to speak. He will speak and then he will enjoy the rest of the Sunday with Kapil Sharma. But the outcome is that am I able to give 3 points that you think is important for you, which is the impact of that result. And a lot of time I've seen that as we start our careers, or probably even at the later point in time, in the times that we are also kind of working, we get engrossed with output and not outcome. And it's just a shift of mindset that we have. So start focusing more that the kind of efforts that you're putting, what is the outcome that it is going to yield. not what the result that you will end up achieving ki ye kaam khatam hoga mera. If you're able to show this kind of a maturity, I'm telling you, you will be able to stand out. You will be a differentiator amongst the rest. So, and that's where your delivering results come in. So this is broadly these 5 elements. If you're able to exhibit, people will be able to develop an understanding that, you're able to exhibit a professional behavior at work, right? Coming to quickly on the personality. Now, there are 2 things in personality. Personality is your outer personality as well. Of course, how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you're talking to others, etc. But it is beyond that. But fortunately, unfortunately, we are more visual people, right? We kind of see things visually, and hence your first impression becomes much more important. How you come across. So the moment you're entering into that cabin where you're going for the interview, people or the interviewers start evaluating you. They start judging you. And I know I'm using the word judging. It's very, I don't like that word judging, but people start evaluating you, right? Inherently or intentionally and unintentionally, we all are doing that right now also. So you guys who are evaluating me, that how Keval is presenting, etc., etc. I will be perceptively evaluating that, oh, who is participating, who is not participating, kiska video band ho raha hai, chalu ho raha hai, kaun kya kar raha hai, so on and so forth. That's how we are wired in our brains, right? Creating profound impression. 4 Ds for it. Are you able to exhibit that you are dedicated, sincere? Are you able to exhibit your determination, that you have an attitude which is never say no, a can-do attitude, disciplined in your approach, and ability to exhibit your own dynamism? If you are able to exhibit these, your first impression, the likely chances are going to be the kind of thing that you want to exhibit. First impression कोई और बनाएगा, but उसका input हम देते हैं, right? So the kind of input that you give, you're going to get the output. And of course, then comes the etiquette part of it, that, are you able to exhibit the kind of business etiquette, social etiquette? If you're going to work in a co-sharing office, then, cubicle etiquette ho gaya, or in terms of meetings, calls, videos. Nowadays, we are spending a lot of time, and you will be surprised, but we're training people who have about 15 years, 20 years of experience that, how you should behave when you are on a video call with customers. We are actually training people on that. Why? क्यों मुझे सिखाने का जरूरत पड़ता है किसी को who is about 40 years of age with 15-20 years of experience, that, bloody how you should behave, when you are on a meeting in a video? It should come with a sense of your understanding, right? But it's not coming, because that was not there. Earlier meetings only used to be face to face and in a conference room. Now everything is Zoom. But we are doing that. If you are able to exhibit that you have developed some of these skills, employer का mindset रहेगा, अरे अच्छा, Jaydev knows all of these things, interesting, तो मेरा time कम रहेगा उसको train करने के लिए. I'll be able to put him in front of the customer quickly. मेरा output fast होगा. I'm able to classify Jaydev somewhere, right? So I'm just trying to give those examples out, that how you can look at it. I know I've taken a little bit of time, about 10 minutes. So, sir, do we have about another 10 minutes if we can?
That's okay. I think it's a very important part of the presentation is, I think, today, right now we are, and please go ahead.
Yeah, sure, great. So while I've asked, sir, I also wanted to conquer your opinion. So I hope if it is okay, about another 10 to 15 minutes, I'll try and summarize it in a short span. So maybe go out, give, as I said, it's a democracy, right? Nothing mandatory about it, but we'll try and finish as quickly as possible. So that completes on the first, which is the what part of it. I want to come a little bit on the why part of it, that why all of these is important. Why are we talking about, why are we spending so much of energy? We said that, employers are not focusing just on hiring people. Employers are focusing on creating an experience. They're not just focusing, it's a conscious investment that is happening. There's a huge amount of investment that organizations are making in terms of having such swanky offices, such kind of practices. We want 5 days work, flexi work, we want laptops, phones, bikes, etc., etc. So, and hence they want to ensure that, when the kind of people that they're hiring, they're not just people with a bunch of skills, but with a bunch of purpose, with a sense of purpose, right? So I'm not today, if I'm looking at it, and if I have a opening where I just want a C++ or Python, I'm just not looking for a person who has C++ or Python. I know with AI, I'm in some years down the line, I'm able to going to automate all of that. I'm looking for individuals who are smart enough, who has a sense of purpose and who aligns with the sense of purpose of the organization. And that is where, industry is expecting. What is it in for me in terms of why do we have to look at it? Because we laid down in the first slide, right? What are we looking for? We're looking for quality of work, money, career, international trips, everything. We're looking for everything. We're not just looking for money, right? And hence it becomes really important. We're looking for a career growth. हम लोग अब career growth की बात करते हैं. हम लोग अब job की बात नहीं करते हैं. We talk about career growth, right? And that's where it brings us. So let me just quickly take you through one part of it, which is what is career growth according to me. So I've devised certain equations, and I think, these things make it a little easy for me to remember. So for me, career growth is nothing but my individual real growth plus or minus environmental aspects, or plus or minus which are the external aspects, right? Individual real growth, or the first part of it, is nothing but my own efforts, my own skills, my own abilities. How am I able to deal with situations, build around, etc. Environmental aspects have two elements. We call it tailwinds and headwinds, right? Now what do we mean by tailwinds? So in an aircraft, if you see, there are always tailwinds and headwinds. So the tailwinds are the times where, it gives the aircraft, the air is given from, or rather the climate is such that, the air is thrust is given from the tail. It becomes easy for the aircraft to fly with less fuel. So Harbar, if you see, an aircraft will start landing or taking off from a different direction, depending upon where it gets its tailwinds. So the tailwinds for us from a career standpoint are those times where, either your skills are too much required in the industry, or there have been too many vacancies. There is too much of push from the industries to hire people, which is what you see currently, right? There are a lot of tailwinds that's happening in the job market today, where one individual has more than 2 or 3 opportunities to explore, and then, candidates have the luxury to decide, okay, boss, I'll work for your company or not. It's up to me. That's the tailwind market. Another is the headwind market, wherein job market is very sluggish, opportunities nahi hai. So about, consider the time about 2016-17, where, job market was getting a little stagnated. Or even if you have to put a little different example, 2008-9, after that subprime crisis, there were absolutely no jobs in the market. People were actually firing out. 2020 mein thoda aisa firing chala, but then immediately the tailwinds took up. Those are the times where it becomes really difficult to get. So even if you have your real growth, or your individual real growth aspects, you have it, but if it is a headwind market, you will struggle to get a job. But if it's a tailwind market, then as I said, right, कि अगर computer भी on करना आता है तो आज companies hire करने के लिए बैठी है, सिखा देंगे आपको सब कुछ. So this is a tailwind market. Now what we've realized is, in a span of about, in your entire career, for about 20 years, 40 years, whatever we spend, the environmental aspects, which is the headwind or the tailwind, tends to nullify each other.
Oh.
That doesn't make any sense. So that does not build or contribute towards your career. So that means what contributes your career is the individual real growth that you've had. Your ability to learn constantly, continuously, keep yourself updated, your ability to show flexibility, and your ability to upscale yourself. Those are the things that are going to take you real thing. And that's where one of these Baba said one thing, right? And this is the line that I honestly love. I know it's a very cliched line, but so काबिल बनो, कामयाबी तो पीछे भागेगी. And I think you guys have exhibited that you guys are not running for money. Your first expectation is the quality of work and the learning that you want. You don't want money. Of course, money is important. I'm not saying money is the second most important thing that is going to drive, but the kind of attitude that you're exhibiting is what will take you in terms of a career growth. I'm looking at a long-term perspective. And a lot of people I did say that, uh, in a career about 20, 40 years, 6 months, a little downtime, अच्छा काम नहीं मिलना, that might harbor a frustration, but just don't get bogged down with that. In my 15 years, there was about 3 months of time that मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, सिर्फ data entry करते थे. And I used to feel that what am I doing in my life? My friends are, working some interesting projects. I am a master's graduate, postgraduate भी किया है, but फिर भी मेरे को सिर्फ data entry करवा रही है company. So I felt that frustration. But if you honestly look back today, do I regret that element? I don't regret. I rather laugh. Ki, Acha, that was the kind of reaction that I gave at that point in time. So point is that don't get bogged down with momentary setbacks. Rather start looking at the long-term picture out of it. Right? And that's where we are saying that career growth is nothing but your individual real growth that you're able to exhibit. Now, what are we saying here? So essence, connecting it back to the why part of it. What are we saying? Industry is looking for candidates who is not just skilled, but also has a sense of purpose and who is able to articulate that sense of purpose. And that is what industry is looking for. If I were to just give certain examples, tell me what is common amongst all of them. I hope we know all these four personalities, right? We have Tapsi Panu, Vicky Kaushal, Ashwin, and Anil Kumble. I have tried put from various generations and probably two fields. What is common amongst them? One, you will say that they're all celebrities because we all know them, right? They all did hard work. Yes. I mean, you look at a person like Anil Kumble with a strap and, taking 10 wickets against Pakistan, Ashwin, or probably Vicky Kaushal in the kind of movies that he's doing, the kind of genre that Tapsi is doing. They had clarity in their life. Okay. They mastered their skills. What is, and this is a little bit quirky. All four of them are engineers. All four of them have a BTech or a BE degree, and imagine a BTech and a BE degree in the years of 2000 with a dot-com boom. And if you see Anil Kumble's and all, they had their BTech degrees in 90s. They could have become Satya Nadellas of the world today. Yes, they were able to master their skill, but before mastering their skill, they were able to identify the purpose. What kind of skills? So it's fine, and honestly I get the kind of inspiration from them. Sometimes हमको लगता है कि अरे हाँ यार ना ये बंदा lucky भी है कि इसका हो गया यार, हमारा नहीं हुआ. This guy is lucky also, right? These guys have been lucky, but imagine the kind of luck that has been there, right? How many people want to or aspire to become cricketers in their life, in India at least, where it's considered to be religion, and how many of them are able to do it? How many want to, I mean, you see a lot of people who want to make their careers in Bollywood and the glam industry, and how many are able, I mean, the kind of struggle that you see, perseverance, and a lot of things. But beyond that, in the wake of challenges, where your failures are hitting on your face every day, if you have your purpose clear, and if you're able to exhibit that purpose, that is what is going to stand you out. And that's why I just thought I'll just take a little bit of an interesting example around it. So make your why very clear, that why you want to do things. Your why has to be very clear, and it has to be articulated. If you are going into your job interviews, people will ask you that, why did you opt for particular stream of engineering? Why not other stream of engineering? Why did you opt for marketing? Why not finance? Why not HR? then and there, you need to have your answers clear and it needs to connect back to you. And that brings us that, now if we understand the what industry expects and why industry expects it to be, how industry gauges, and what is it for us that, how can we, or what are the arrows that we have in our quiver to kind of face that. Again, on each of these word, you can have a 2-day session, right? My intent is only to highlight the broad aspects, and then probably from here we can build it upon. Writing an appealing CV, that's your first marketing pitch. Even if you are an engineer, that is going to be a marketing pitch. Each individual, so because I am not an MBA marketing doesn't mean that I'm not doing marketing. Each individual in a process, in a job market, is doing marketing. And this is your first pitch. Even before the panel member or the interviewer sees your face or tries to build that first impression, he will see your first impression from the kind of CV that you have written. I'll tell you an example. I've been looking out for one of the positions that I have in my team, and I've interviewed almost about 30 candidates. Inherently, I realized that even before I get into an interview, I make a perception about the candidate, whether am I going to hire him or her or not. It's only basis the CV that is written. So write an appealing CV and take 2 to 3 days. A CV cannot be made in hours. A CV is that 2-pager document which kind of summarizes your life of about 20-25 years. It can't be written in 1 or 2 hours. Objective statements can't be copied. In college days में we've seen that अच्छा तूने ये objective लिखा, उसको थोड़ा English ऊपर नीचे करके active passive करके I will make my own objective. Can't be there. Go back to your why, right? That why has to come out, and you need to start churning a little bit around your why. Write your objective statement. What are the skills that you want to highlight? What is the job that is demanding? What are the kind of skills that the job is demanding? And is your CV highlighting that skills or not? And again, another thing that I've believed and I follow it can't be a single CV for 2 different job opportunities. You have to keep changing your CV. You have to amend your CV depending upon the kind of, the job requirement is. So start making an appealing CV. And give it to some of your mentors. I mean, I'm sure, a lot of mentors are available from Yuval. Give it to them. Put your CV into a litmus test. See whether, it is actually marketing the kind of skills that you want to exhibit or not. If you are preparing for an interview, there are certain standard questions. Tell me about yourself, your strength, weaknesses, etc., etc. Take interview as an opportunity where you're narrating your story. किसी को भी ना रट्टा हुआ आंसर सुनने का आदत नहीं है. हमको मजा भी नहीं आता ज्यादा. किसी को मजा नहीं आता. Imagine an interviewer who is sitting since morning till about evening, interviewing about 20, 50, 100 candidates if it's in a campus interview, and asking the same questions. How can you make it interesting? We all watch movies and we get inspired and fascinated by movies, right? Your life and the way you present yourself has to be a story. Narrate an appealing and an impactful story. Connect your life experiences with what you have written, with the kind of skills, and then present and frame your answers. Those are the differentiators. People will be able to differentiate. People should take interest in you first. आधा से ज़्यादा काम वहीं पे हो जाएगा. The moment people have been able to take interest in you, and knowing about you more, your part would be done there. And that's the most difficult part of it, because as humans, our attention spans are reducing. Our attention spans have reduced in the first interaction, it has reduced as good as less than a minute. Can you create an impact in just 1 minute? Because that first minute that you're going to speak is going to decide whether, your interview is going to go smooth, it's going to be just procedural in nature. And then, of course, preparing for the other selection processes. So look at what are some of the other selection processes, prepare for those of it, because each of the processes will gauge a different set of quality and skills for you. A group discussion will look at various elements, your communication, ability to lead managing emotions, put across points. Your case study will look at analytical thinking, ability to decipher a problem. Presentation will bring about your communication, articulation, your stage presence, all of that. So uh, companies very thoughtfully put some of the processes that what is the filtration process going to be, or what is the selection procedure going to be. Again, I'll connect it back to the output and the outcome. Just don't look कि हाँ मैं case study करके output दे दूंगा. You have to look at the outcome. If you're able to think it from that standpoint, then I think you will be able to make a good head start in your careers as well, right? I know I've been doing a lot of monologue for a while. I'll take a quick 1 minute for you all to look at if you have any questions. So that's I think that's the last slide that I had with me. But any questions that you have? Rather, it's the second last slide rather that I have, just to put it across. Yes, keen to hear some of the thoughts or some questions if you have. Yes, Mika, go ahead.
Sir, what are some of the important points that you look when you're reading through a CV?
Very good. Good. I think it's a very interesting question. So one is, what we typically look forward is for any job that we're trying to look at hiring, we will look at what are some of the job imperatives that, what are some of the skills that are needed and how those skills are exhibited by a candidate. If I have to look at a fresh graduate, if I'm looking at hiring a fresh graduate, of course, you will not have kind of experience that is coming up, right? But as I said, right, are you able to narrate some of the skills that you have acquired, some of the challenges that you've been able to surpass? What are some of the skills that you've been able to build upon, which will add up to it? If you're writing a statement of purpose or your objective purpose, how much thoughtful are you while you're writing it? Those are some of the things that we'll look at when we are evaluating a profile. Highlight your skills aspect. What skills you've been able to develop in college? What are some of the extra co-curriculars that you've been able to participate in if you've done it? If you have created some knowledge bank, maybe written some paper around it, highlight something around it. What you've been able to learn from it and what you can bring on the table. And then your CV is going to be, and I always tell that your CV actually is where you drive your interviews and not the interviewer drives, because you put only those things and highlight those elements where you want interview to probe you on. Visually उसको ऐसा बनाइए कि जो aspect आपको बताना है ना, highlight करना, उसको थोड़ा impactful करिए. What will happen is interviewers' eyes will catch that element and they will start picking up from there. And then what happens is they will be able to build a perception that no, the candidate knows what he or she is speaking and what he or she has written into it. Yeah. I hope you're getting the clarity around it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I can see a question on how can you give an example of narrating a story? So Gayatri, hi, can you come online or probably unmute? I can't see.
Yes.
Gayatri. Yes, Gayatri. Good. I think it's an interesting question. So if you have to talk about yourself for a minute, what are some of the pointers that you would say? I don't want a narrative, but at least a pointers. And then how will you build around it? So one of it is that, from which city you are, what has been your education qualification, your background, some of your co-curriculars, right? That's how you'll say that, okay, well, my name is Keval, I am from Baroda, I have a bigger background in HR, I have worked in 2 companies and this has been my experience, blah, blah, blah. It's a very linear way of putting it across. Now, can you make it a little more creative and impactful? Have you seen a commerce graduate confused between HR and psychology? Building up a punchy line itself and starting from there. And then probably building it about that, what are some of the skills that you're able to exhibit? while being in a tier 2 city like Baroda, been able to do some things which, you know, probably a tier 1 city is doing. I'm just trying to build something. So try and create a story, because story is something that each one of us remembers. Each one of us remembers a story. हमको आज के टाइम में भी वो crocodile और monkey वाला story याद है, बहुत बचपन में सुना होगा, अभी तो याद भी नहीं होगा, but we still remember that, right? Create your story, create your narrative. So first you write down your narrative, what you want to frame it and answer, and then give it a creative punch in an element of a story for most of the questions. So that's how you can frame your answer. So rather, that's what I'm looking at, that, you know, just don't frame your answers plain, blank, simple. Try a bit of storytelling in it, and that will help you.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, if an interviewer asks, tell me about yourself and then your family. So if I am narrating a story about myself, so is it necessary that it should involve only the academics, or rather it should also involve my interest areas?
It should, because, you know, when an interview is asking about that, tell about yourself, interview in a short span of, let's say, about a minute or so, he or she is just trying to know who Gayatri is as an individual. So Gayatri as an individual, and you kind of make a mental map, बीच में Gayatri लिखिए, put academic, interest, hobbies, some skills, put what has been some of your role that you've played, maybe, you know, in some extra co-curriculars that you've done. Talk about your achievements, something that you're proud of, something that you were able to exhibit. Talk about your values, talk about things that, you know, probably people have told about you that they value. And of course, your family background, academics will build it up around it. See, people can still see that, you know, you've done your HSC, your bachelor's, your master's, whatever, in that table that you will put in now, right? So they're not just looking to reiterate कि वो read करके आप बताओ, but how you are able to show that differently is what you can build it up around.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just take the one which is on Jitendra, is saying that, you know, light on psychometric test, judge the lead. Jitendra, can you just explain that question? Light on psychometric test, judge the leadership quality.
This may not be a question because he is a senior person from the industry.
Okay. Sure. So yeah, in fact, a lot of organization, even in fact, in my first placement that happened after college, they put us through 3 levels of group discussion, and then we had to undergo a psychometric assessment, right? So there are a set of leadership skills, qualities that probably an industry is evaluating on a particular role, and they may just want to explore. But psychometrics are not used just as a point of decision making. There is no right or wrong answer, right? It's how we are framed. What they may do is use that report, and when they are interviewing you, they will try to revalidate that element through your experiences. So psychometric, and it's ethically also not right. So no industry would reject or select a candidate just based on a psychometric assessment. It is used as one of the filtration processes, and they need to validate those thought processes. Yeah. Okay. Before I just get into the closure slide, this is a slide that I have made it. I mean, a lot of thought that went behind. While we are saying that, be purposeful, be thoughtful, exhibit leadership, etc. Kaise kare? How it can't happen overnight, right? So I thought that it's the same thing. It doesn't happen overnight. It didn't happen with me overnight. Neither it is happening with me overnight. Honestly, I still feel that there are areas that I still want to learn. One, of course, being managing time. I can see how good we are today in managing time, right? But some of the things, I build in the, I very believe strongly in the impact of compounding, the impact that has in terms of the compounding efforts, right? So I have created some tenets of a balanced life that I strive to practice, at least most of them. Just thought I'll present this before we kind of tentatively close, right? So people tell, read books, read this, read that. What if I don't have an interest in reading? Nahi man karta, kya kare? Start with one page. At least read one page of it, right? A book or an article, whatever. the more, we do exercise, we do walking, etc., we feed our body, we need to feed our mind, and your thoughts will only open if you start reading some bit of it. 2 minutes of prayer. So one page of book, at least start one page of book daily. 2 minutes of prayer or gratitude. It can be anything, whatever God you believe or you don't believe, you believe in destiny or any kind of spirituality that you follow, just 2 minutes of it daily. With mind, you also need a good, healthy body, right? Because just mind is not good enough for us. So at least 3 glasses of water. Off lately, we've realized that, people have health issues because they don't drink water.
Yes.
And, if you don't have a good physical stamina, it'll be very difficult for you, the kind of success that you're looking at. You need to have that. You need to have your body also be resilient. Say 4 affirmative thoughts daily. So, I am on Instagram. I follow a lot of celebrities, but I also follow a lot of affirmative pages. And I just read that. I don't tend to note it down in a diary. I don't write a journal or a diary, anything, honestly, today also. But those thoughts, somewhere or the other, and it creates a compounding impact for you. This is very difficult. 5 minutes of detachment. And the most important detachment is from this device, of which we are slaves, right? Imagine yourself 5 minutes airplane mode पे डाल के in a room, just बैठ जाओ, आँख बंद करके. It's very difficult, but it's equally important. We need to connect internally. We are trying to derive our own purpose. So I'm not telling you to do meditation 2 hours, 3 hours, follow any babas of the world. Simple of it, at least 5 minutes, or it can be even before you go for your bed. 5 minutes without mobile, sit silently. That's it. And just observe what's happening in your thoughts. If nothing else, just observe your breathing. That's it. That's more than enough. But if you do it on a daily basis, you will start realizing the impact of it. Walking 6,000 steps a day. Now, in the world of gadgets that we live, most of us would have a smartwatch. If you don't have a smartwatch, you have a smartphone. And your smartphone has those apps which tracks your steps. And I like to believe that, we use or we take our phones at every place that we go, even between your hall and your kitchen, right? And you will be able to monitor that. So 6,000 steps is not a big task. It doesn't need you to wake up 6 o'clock and wear shoes and, go down in a garden and put those efforts. Even a normal walk, on an average, I've been able to realize is about 4,500, 4,800 to ho jata hai. It's just that additional 1,500 that we need to reach. So see if you are able to walk 6,000 steps a day, because that will give you the endurance that you need. Use this 7th day, which is the day that we are sitting on, as a day of celebration. You've earned this day after 6 days of hard work, struggle that you've had. So follow this day and cherish this day, because after your college and once you start working, and I'm sure, a lot of experienced professionals here will realize the importance of this 7th day that you get with your family, with your friends, with your people that, and with the things that you want to do. Just lying down on your couch and doing nothing is also good. It's okay. There's nothing to be apologetic about it. I do it a lot of time. Having sound 8 hours of sleep, and because that helps you build your focus the next morning, right? I have started following this a little more closely, that 9 p.m. with family. So because the kind of families that we live in, we most of the time, all of us have different meals at different times. But at least that 9 p.m. dinner with family, or 9 p.m. with family, just for a few moments, it is equally impactful that, we do it, because you don't realize the kind of sacrifices your family has been putting in for you to reach where you are today and from here on. And nothing happens, even when the entire world is against you. The only thing that is going to stay with you in the wake of challenges is your family. Well, even if they know that, you may not be in a good position, but still your family is going to be there, and that's going to be a bedrock support. And last but not the least is having the 10 minutes of meaningful conversation. Get somebody, or probably you know somebody, having 10 minutes of meaningful conversation in a day or in a week for that matter is, and I was just telling that, having a 10 minutes of a meaningful conversation with someone is as good and as insightful as reading a book. It opens your thought process, thinking faculties, and you become more open to ideas around it. So I have been able to follow these 10 tenets, at least a lot of it, and I still strive to follow. And that's where I thought that I will share before I kind of wind it up the session. So that's bit from my end. I can see some questions coming on. What's about zero? Sorry, I don't have anything on zero, honestly. I like to believe that, honestly, I'm a person who is very competitive. So that's where I've not been able to put up something on zero, but it's a good thought. Thanks, Ajit. I will try and think something, and next time when I'm putting it across, I'm going to put something on zero as well.
Sir, I will suggest that during meditation, put your thoughts zero, put your all actions zero. Wow, and put fantastic. Your all aspirations zero, and fantastic. Have meditation in 0 hours in the starting of your day.
The starting of your day. Yeah. A lot of them have now, I think, and a great thought. Thank you so much. I think this is something, the biggest lesson that I'm going to carry today back, that, have a zero as well. Sometimes you need that zero, because zero itself has its own value with it. Great. So thank you so much. I think I'll just address some of the questions or some of the comments that have been there in the chat window. So if an interviewer is asking about myself, how I show present, like should I start saying hello, I'm blah blah blah, and talking about Jismi, etc., which is more, you can do it. So I've seen people, and also it depends just upon the context in which you are. So if you are in an interview, you may want to be a little more formal and talk about yourself, that good morning, good afternoon, I'm Jismi, and thanks for providing this opportunity to me. So maybe a formal line. If you think that the job opportunity is in an industry which is very young, which is very quirky, and you might be evaluated also on the part where being creative is interesting. So you can just enter that, okay, I want to just talk about Jismi as an individual, and then you can start addressing yourself as a third person also. But again, it all depends upon the context, and that's how you should be able to relate it to. Yeah. Let's see, quantifying process. Thank you. Great. Thanks, Jitendra ji. Okay, I think I have been able to look at all the comments. Can we make 0 minutes of laziness? So Yash has directly messaged me, and sorry Yash, I'm just putting it on spot. And it's good. 0 minutes of laziness, it's needed, right? So you should